Today the market woke up to a shockwave that almost nobody saw coming, and at the center of it all is Palantir Technologies, a stock that investors either love, hate, or simply cannot ignore. And in this video we are breaking down the huge Palantir announcement that sent ripples across Wall Street, what it really means, why the market reacted the way it did, and most importantly, what this could mean for the future of Palantir stock and for investors watching from the sidelines. So make sure you stay until the end because the implications here are much bigger than most headlines are letting on. The announcement dropped and within minutes traders were scrambling, social media was exploding, and Palantir's name was suddenly everywhere. But before we talk about price movement and reactions, we need to understand what was actually announced, because this was not just another press release or a routine update. This was a strategic move that changes how Palantir positions itself in the artificial intelligence race and how it plans to generate revenue long-term. Palantir revealed a major expansion of its AI platform, pushing its artificial intelligence platform, often called AIP, deeper into both commercial and government operations, and this is important because Palantir has historically been seen as a government-first company, deeply tied to defense, intelligence agencies, and large-scale public sector contracts, but this announcement made it very clear that Palantir is aggressively targeting commercial enterprises at scale, and that is a massive shift in narrative. For years, critics have said Palantir's business model was too dependent on government contracts, too slow to scale, and too complex for everyday businesses, but this announcement directly challenges that idea. Palantir showcased how companies can now deploy AI-driven decision-making tools faster, with lower friction, and with measurable impact across operations like supply chains, manufacturing, healthcare, and finance, and that caught the market's attention immediately. Investors were shocked not just by what Palantir announced, but by how confident and aggressive the tone was. This wasn't a, "we're testing," or "we're exploring," kind of update. This was Palantir saying they are ready now, that their AI platform is live, scalable, and already being adopted, and that message matters a lot in a market where artificial intelligence has become the single most powerful growth narrative. When you look at the broader market context, AI stocks have been bid up aggressively, but many companies are still talking in future tense, promising what AI might do one day. Palantir on the other hand is positioning itself as a company already delivering real-world AI solutions, not demos, not experiments, but deployed systems used in high-stakes environments, and that distinction is critical. The market reaction showed just how polarizing Palantir still is. Some investors saw this as validation, a confirmation that Palantir is finally unlocking its commercial potential. Others immediately worried about valuation, competition, and execution risk, and that tension is exactly why this announcement shocked the market. It forced everyone to reassess their Palantir thesis. Another key part of the announcement was Palantir's focus on profitability and operational discipline. Unlike many high-growth tech companies that are burning cash to chase AI dominance, Palantir emphasized its strong balance sheet, positive cash flow, and ability to fund growth internally, and in a market that has become much more sensitive to profitability, that message carries serious weight. Palantir also highlighted deeper partnerships and integrations, showing how its platform can plug directly into existing enterprise systems, reducing implementation time and complexity. This is huge because one of the biggest criticisms of Palantir has always been that it takes too long to deploy and requires too much customization. This announcement directly addressed that concern. Now let's talk about leadership, because announcements like this don't happen in a vacuum. They reflect a strategic vision from the top, and Palantir's CEO, Alex Karp, has never been a traditional tech executive. He's outspoken, philosophical, and often controversial, but he has consistently emphasized building software that matters in the real world, and this announcement felt like a culmination of that vision. Karp has repeatedly argued that Palantir's technology is misunderstood, that it's not just data analytics, but a foundational layer for decision-making in complex systems, and this announcement reinforced that idea, positioning Palantir as a core infrastructure provider for AI-driven organizations, not just a tool, but a platform. From a stock market perspective, the timing of this announcement could not be more interesting. The market has been rotating between growth and value. Investors are demanding real earnings, real use cases, and real adoption. Palantir stepping forward with a confident AI expansion at this moment explains why the reaction was so intense. But let's be clear, this does not mean Palantir is suddenly risk-free. Far from it. Competition in AI is brutal, with giants and startups alike racing to dominate enterprise AI. Palantir's differentiation lies in its deep integration, security focus, and ability to operate in sensitive environments, but execution will be everything. If Palantir fails to convert this momentum into sustained revenue growth, the market will not be forgiving. Another aspect that shocked investors was how this announcement reframed Palantir's total addressable market. By pushing further into commercial AI, Palantir is essentially telling investors that its growth ceiling is much higher than previously thought, and anytime a company expands its perceived market opportunity, valuations and expectations can change rapidly. This also raises questions about Palantir's long-term role in the AI ecosystem. Is it a niche player serving governments and critical industries, or is it becoming a mainstream enterprise AI powerhouse? This announcement strongly suggests the latter, and that's a big narrative shift. Short-term traders reacted quickly, volatility spiked, and opinions were sharply divided, but long-term investors are now faced with a deeper question. Do they believe Palantir can scale this platform efficiently while maintaining its margins and culture? Because if the answer is yes, this announcement could be remembered as a turning point. There's also a geopolitical layer here that shouldn't be ignored. Palantir's close ties with Western governments and defense agencies position it uniquely at a time when data sovereignty, national security, and AI regulation are becoming increasingly important. While some companies struggle with regulatory uncertainty, Palantir has built its business around operating within strict regulatory environments, and that could become a competitive advantage. At the same time, that association can limit Palantir's appeal to certain investors and regions, which means the company must carefully balance its identity as it expands commercially. This announcement suggests Palantir believes it can do both, maintain its government roots while scaling commercially, but that is easier said than done. So what does this mean for Palantir stock going forward? In the near term, expect volatility. Announcements like this raise expectations, and the market will now demand proof. Earnings reports, customer growth, and revenue acceleration will matter more than ever. Hype alone will not sustain the stock. In the long term, however, if Palantir successfully executes on this vision, integrates AI deeply into enterprise workflows, and continues to show profitability, the company could solidify itself as one of the most important AI infrastructure players of the next decade. And that's why this announcement shocked the market. It forced investors to think much bigger about what Palantir could become. For viewers of Stock Predictor, the key takeaway is not to react emotionally to headlines, but to understand the strategy behind them. Palantir's huge announcement is a signal, not a guarantee. It signals ambition, confidence, and readiness, but the real story will be told in the numbers over the coming quarters. Whether you're bullish, bearish, or undecided, one thing is clear: Palantir is no longer content with being a misunderstood niche player. It is stepping directly into the AI spotlight, challenging competitors, and daring the market to take it seriously, and moments like this are exactly why following the story closely matters. If you enjoyed this deep dive and want more real market breakdowns without the noise, make sure to like, subscribe, and stay tuned to Stock Predictor, because the market is moving fast, and the biggest opportunities often come wrapped in controversy and surprise. And as always, invest smart, stay informed, and I'll see you in the next video.